attack will most of the time win the game. So if you attack through that back door in these positions, you're basically betting that you're going to win with that push. And if you don't, you are in a lot of trouble. So we'll have to see how this plays out, whether Kiwikaki is going to be super aggressive or if he's going to play for another macro game. These positions, I would expect him to make more units early on and possibly start off with some aggression, but the map, if they're not going through the back door, has a pretty long rush distance, so it could settle back into a long macro game if Gretorp isn't just flying tons of Banshees into his bases. Because, yeah, these positions, pretty good for Banshees.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what. Again, I think this is going to come down to what Gretorp does. Truthfully, Kiwikaki's probably going to play this a little more straight up here, just get his gateway count up. I don't think he's going to be busting any rocks down or anything like that to get to the back of the Terran. He did select this map, so he might have something up his sleeve. But I'm pretty confident this one's going to come down to what Gretorp can come up with. Just to see if he is going to switch onto Banshees or try to play mech. I don't know why, but I've seen Hellion tank Thor kind of work well if you're fighting a bunch of Zealots, obviously. So we'll see which way it goes, but it will be Gretorp setting the tone here, I believe, as Kiwikaki is just doing the same kind of thing, very fast Cyber Core. It's actually 18 core. It's about right there as his second pylon just finished. Both players, Gretorp just getting the scout out first there. Obviously, Kiwi not really caring about positions. He does move his probe out now just to intercept the SCV that's going to reach. As most players know, you cannot spawn north-south in this position, so there's only 2 points to scout. It's either oppositional distances or straight across, as we see here that Gretorp has discovered. Kiwikaki is in the the southeastern position there, and he is going to keep scooting around with his SCV. Ooh, one gate robo. No gateway unit started by Kiwikaki just yet. Going to throw down that robo, and Gretorp's going to get a great look at that.
Yeah, and on the other side of the map, the thing that I went ooh at was Gretorp going 1 Rax expand. So we've got 1 gate robo versus 1 Rax expand. It depends on what Kiwikaki does with this robo. If he does a quick tech into Colossus, he might be able to catch Gretorp before he can get too many units out on the field. But Gretorp did scout that robotics facility, so it will give him time to drop a factory if he wants. He does have 2 more barracks on the way, but proxy pylon here from Kiwikaki up on the very top left. But he did move the probe away, so that looks like it's probably just going to be for warp-ins later in the game. Not a bad idea to be planning for that for the later game. But if Gretorp doesn't drop a factory here, which having scouted that robotics facility, he could safely drop a factory right now, seeing the 1 gate robo. It's one of those situations where you're not going to expect too many units from your opponent early. You will be able to get that tech down. But if he sticks with just the Marines and Marauders and Kiwi gets a decent number of Colossus out, it's going to be really tough for him. As we saw how that played out on Xel'Naga Caverns, Gretorp had like almost 16 Vikings and it just didn't matter. It was insane.
Yeah, he's throwing down another rack. So as I said, I think Gretorp is going to go for a tempo play here, going to try to get as many gateway units out as he can, and most likely look to push, I would guess. As he did, like you mentioned, see just the 1 gate robo. Warp gate's almost complete for Kiwikaki. He's getting his 2nd gateway down right now, so he will have the opportunity to fight it off. He has the sentry at his ramp, which is always a good idea in case the Terran gets a little over anxious. Lots of units being rallied at the front for Gretorp. He's got 4 Marines in production, as well as Stim at half there, so he's going to be in a good position to take some aggression here as Kiwikaki is throwing down his expansion. Very, very low on production. The one difference here in the game on Xel'Naga Caverns is Kiwikaki had 3 gateways out first and then got onto Colossus. I think he's going to be a little bit army shy here on the first engagement as Gretorp is doing a great job of keeping his macro up and just getting a ton of Marines on the field, and Stim just going to be the icing on the cake here most likely.
Yeah, so Gretorp did scout that Nexus as well, and again, another opportunity for Gretorp. But he's just playing defensively. At this point, he did get that 1 gate, 1 Rax expand, so he is going to have a bit of an economic advantage, but he's quite behind in tech. So I would expect to see him trying to push across the map with these Marines, seeing as when you see the one gateway into Robo and then a Nexus, your opponent's probably not going to have a whole lot of forces. Even if you don't commit, just show the fact that you're sending units across the map to make him nervous. Let him see that you have Marines nearby, so that maybe he has to throw more units out on the field and you can't just tech freely. Well, you might be able to get some your factory and starport down. So he is finally going to drop that factory, going to try and catch back up in the tech. But I've been expecting to see a robotics bay here from Kiwikaki, but it's only just now being dropped. He is making another Immortal, starting off with Immortal Sentry, which we haven't seen too much of. But whenever I saw Kiwikaki do this Immortal Sentry play, it was kind of disgusting. Just because the fact that his micro is so good. It's one of those strategies where really good micro rewards you a lot with this unit composition.
Yeah.
But here comes Gretorp. I don't see any SVs coming with this time. He's just bringing lots of bio. Kiwikaki did see that with the Watchtower, but that's a lot of Marines. Stimpack is done. +1 weapons isn't too far behind. That's a lot of sentries, though. If he can get some clutch force fields and just let the Immortals pick away at his enemy, he could win a war of attrition here if Gretorp tries to get too aggressive.
Yeah, I think Gretorp noticed that. Gretorp did do a great job of scanning ahead, a very good Terran advantage, making sure that you do scout ahead to see if he does have a heavy amount of sentries or just a ton of zealots or something out of the ordinary. He is going to reinforce the ball and just kind of hold the middle ground here. I wouldn't expect him to push up here either into the 5 sentries. All of them have near full energy, so he will have a ton of force fields, and those Marauders are just going to be devastating if he can cut the ball in half. So I think Gretorp's going to take a more defensive posture in the middle as Kiwikaki is getting on to his 4 gates. Colossus coming out with Thermal Lance, so it is going to be very interesting to see. It's going to be kind of a remake of the first game here, primarily Bioarmy from Gretorp, as he does just start scouting out with the factory in the southern ground there.
Yeah, except this time Gretorp does make 2 medevacs first. He's going to be loading up some units, but without getting those quick Vikings, he might have a bit of a difficult time with the Colossus. To be fair, the Colossus are going to be later this game than they were in the first game. But here comes a drop, and if you look, Kiwikaki's forces are all here at the front door. He really does not have a whole lot. He's got 1 Colossus, a couple Stalkers. Oh, but he does see that with the Observer, just barely catching those medevacs flying in, so he does warp in some more units at home while leaving the rest of his army out front. Very intelligent, knowing he does not want to overreact. He is going to be able to chase off this drop without taking any damage and still being able to hold his front door. Excellent defense from Kiwikaki, reacting perfectly to what he saw. Bit of luck with that Observer seeing the drops coming, but still very good decision by Kiwi. And now Gretorp is just sort of poking around, not sure what to do. He doesn't have a whole lot of Vikings. Twilight Council. Ooh.
Yeah, so it looks like Kiwi's probably going to try to get, again, his charge lots up. He's going to get +1 weapons. The Twilight Council will enable +2 tech as well, which is going to be critical. He did use that in the first game. He had +2 Colossus, and those things are just deadly versus Marines. Gretorp doing a good job of keeping up. He's going to be on 2-1 shortly as well. Viking attacks coming up actually in production right now, so he's going to try to get Vikings up now to answer these Immortals. Still primarily gateways, or sorry, barracks. He's got the same 5 racks out. Not really. He's going to go return with empty medevacs, or he's just going to maybe try to sight Kiwi out here as Kiwi's expansion in the north there does get spotted. So he is going to be forced to warp in some units there as the medevacs are going to the low ground there, forcing Kiwi to kind of move around. Cannon gets finished. I don't know what Gretorp's doing. He's going to try to psych him out here and possibly getting the medevacs just to tease at the back here as the ball from Gretorp just moving around the front. I'm guessing he's going to go sack. No,
I think he assumes that Kiwikaki has this other Xel'Naga Watchtower because he keeps poking into the little map and then dancing back as if he expects Kiwikaki sees him, but he does not. So he's not really doing much. +2 weapons is getting close to half done for Kiwikaki, and those weapons upgrades are just so crucial for Protoss because it's every single unit he has on the field right now. It's just so amazingly effective. But +2 just finished for Gretorp. He has 1 armor as well. There's going to be a really big push coming in the front. That's a lot of Marines and Marauders. Vikings pushing forward, trying to put some pressure onto the Colossus. Nice force fields from Kiwi. And then Gretorp's just going to turn around and take this 3rd base. Good play by him. Just taking this base since Kiwikaki is not really going to be able to defend it.
Dark Templar actually in the front there of Kiwikaki defending his natural. I don't know if Gretorp noticed this or not. The Dark Templar is just kind of cutting away right now. He is going to get the scan there. Does notice the Dark Templar finally, and he's going to have to bring all of his units to reinforce as the cannon is finished now. 2 cannons done, only 1 powered though, so he's going to be able to hold that middle engagement. 4 Colossus out. Great force field from Kiwi. Cut off half the army of Gretorp right there. That's going to remain the remainder of the army, and I think that's going to be it. As Gretorp was just really taken apart by those force fields, and Kiwikaki's Colossus are just 7, 4, and 11 kills respectively. So
yeah, I took 1 second to see if Kiwikaki had managed to sneak any Dark Templars into Gretorp's bases, and then by the time I got back, his army was almost already dead. Just Kiwikaki just pushing out in the middle of the map. It looked like he was on his back heels, but somehow he managed to save that Nexus and completely wipe out his opponent's base. Force fields, super good. He had so much energy on those sentries, he was able to just throw down tons of force fields. Now he's pushing across the map. Again, that's a ton of Vikings, but I don't know. Last time it didn't really help Gretorp. We'll have to see what he's doing. And all of these Vikings are committed to just taking out these Colossus. And he doesn't have as many Colossus this time. So the Colossus are still going to do a lot of damage, and the charge lots will be able to clean up the rest. He does lose all of the Colossus, but now these Vikings, what are the Vikings doing? Nothing.
He's got 1 Colossus left, just barely made it out there on his chinny chin, but +3 weapons being started right now for Kiwi. Gretorp just frantically trying to get back in there. He's trying to get 3 2 weapons up. Gretorp going to look to snipe that Colossus. It does go down. Now, as you mentioned, the Vikings are completely useless versus the primarily gateway force here from Kiwikaki. Kiwikaki being chased off, trying to get position, I'm guessing, to get a force field off. Those Marauders are going the wrong way unless they get the elevator out of there. They're not going to escape. There's the load.
But he might lose a medevac. No, he loses a full medevac. And for people who are wondering, you know, the gut reaction that a lot of people would do in that instance is land the Vikings. The problem is he needs those Vikings. If he loses any of those Vikings, Kiwikaki can just crank out a lot of Colossus and suddenly he's way ahead. If he lands the Vikings, they're all going to die, then he has nothing to answer Colossus. So even though he's in a tough spot, he just is unable to bring those Vikings down to the ground because it's too high risk. We see another really big engagement in the middle of the map. The Vikings still not landing because he's just too afraid to do it. Oh, there he goes. He lands, and he's going to get hit by the Colossus, the Immortals, and the Stalkers. Almost all the Vikings going down, and now he has no answer to these Colossus. That could be game right there.
Yeah, Gretorp just really got baited there. He thought he had it. He did scan ahead, but Kiwi's just really pushing into the front here. Gretorp is going to try to get the SCVs in the line here, but with these 2 Colossus up there, just going to shred these SCVs. Almost +3 weapons, or just +3 weapons, just finished Kiwikaki at this pressure. So this attack is even that much stronger as Gretorp really doesn't have enough left. He's floating the command center away, the orbital command away. There is a Dark Templar in the front there. 15 kills on the Dark Templar alone. 16 kills now. He is definitely earning that master title. As I don't think Gretorp even has bothered to try to get a scan off. He's worried too much about the Colossus as Kiwikaki's just really pushing back into the base. There's the super good game from Gretorp, and Kiwikaki will advance into the round of 8 here.
Yeah, and it's those Vikings, man. If he kept those Vikings alive, he might have been able to pull it off, and you just have to be so careful about landing Vikings versus Protoss. Because if you lose them, and he's still making Colossus, you almost just lose. It's very, very tough situation for Gretorp because he had so many Vikings and he just had nothing to do with them. But he can't really use them to fight the gateway units, or else he's just in a ton of trouble.
Exactly.
So Kiwikaki will advance 2-1 over Gretorp. Great games. Congratulations to Kiwikaki. our condolences to Gretorp. Hopefully, if we can get another one of these going, we'll see you next time, because those were some great games. Maybe you won't have to face Kiwikaki in round 1. But, thanks for playing. There were some great games, definitely entertaining.